Let's check in on Super Bowl hungover San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so going into the season, right? Obviously, Kyle Shanahan forgot about overtime. Who knew? What do you think? Like last year? Obviously, they make the Super Bowl. Typically, it seems like this don't go back to the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on the 49ers?
Yeah, I think the 49ers will probably win the division again this year because they're so much better than everyone else here. They still have one of the best defenses in the league. They still have Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey about to pay Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle there as well. So I still think they're probably going to win the division, but I think they're going to be a little bit banged up going into the playoffs and inevitably lose to Detroit again in the NFC title game rematch there. Maybe they get upset by a team like the Bears in the second round.
That'd be cool. Well, first game of the season, ironically enough, Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers comes to town.
Aaron Rodgers comes to town. I do think the San Francisco 49ers win that game there. Aaron Rodgers is going to be his first game with the Jets, but I think the 49ers are a much better team still.
And it's Aaron Rodgers against the 49ers.
Yeah, not a great matchup there.
Then they face the Vikings in Minnesota.
They've had their trouble with the Minnesota Vikings, but I do think they're able to rebound and beat the Vikings.
All right. And then they face the Rams in SoFi.
I had the Rams winning that game, so I'll stick with that.
All right. So they beat the Rams there. And then
The Rams win.
the Rams win. Yep. So they lose their first game. Well, luckily for them, the following game, they host the New England Patriots.
They host the New England Patriots, and I think that's an absolute beatdown. They probably win by 30.
Yep. And then they also, back-to-back weeks, they then host the Arizona Cardinals.
They host the Arizona Cardinals. I think they split with the Cardinals, but I'll go with them winning that game.
All right. And then Thursday Night Football, they head to Seattle.
Thursday Night Football, they head to Seattle. I'll have them. Think you had them splitting with the Seahawks, or did you have the Seahawks winning both games, or the 49ers winning both games?
I had the Niners winning both.
Okay, so I'll stick with that. We go to 5-1.
And then they go to they host the Kansas City Chiefs, which in the Chiefs preview you had them
Beating the Chiefs, so I'll stick with that. They moved to 6-1, which is kind of similar to how if you're saying I'm crazy, this is similar to how Philadelphia started the season last year, 7-1. Then it went downhill from there.
Yeah. Well, then I know where this is going next. 4 o'clock game, I believe. Oh no, primetime game, Sunday Night Football. They bring Dallas Cowboys to town.
Death, taxes, and the annual stomping of the Dallas Cowboys by the San Francisco 49ers. And then Micah Parsons says, oh, we're not as far off as it looked, even though we lost by 40.
Yeah, totally. So at this point, they're what, 7-1?
7-1?
All right. Well, they go to Tampa Bay and they take on Baker Mayfield the following week.
That's just a game they'll lose, I feel like.
At this point, I mean, you look about it, they face the Chiefs and the Cowboys in back-to-back weeks. This is a game they fall flat, potentially.
Yeah, that's a game where after that, and then Micah Parsons will be like, see, they lost to Baker Mayfield. We're not that far off, even though Baker and Dak, it's not really that much of a difference.
Yeah. And then they host the Seahawks the following week.
They host the Seahawks. Yeah, I have them beating the Seahawks both games.
Yep. All right. And then they go to Lambeau the day before Thanksgiving and with the Packers in Green Bay.
I'll have the Packers winning that game. I think the Packers, when they're younger, injuries are starting to creep up on the 49ers. Attrition starts to set in. I will go with the Packers.
All right. And then they go to Buffalo on Sunday Night Football to taste Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, there's a stampede, but it's not the Buffalo Bills doing it. It's the San Francisco 49ers.
All right. And then the following week, they host Caleb Williams and the Bears.
Host Caleb Williams and the Bears. I think that's a game that the Bears can catch them off guard. Bears have an underrated defense. This is the first year that the Bears have a modern NFL offense. Give me the Bears in a potential playoff preview.
All right. And then following that, they have a short week and they host the LA Rams.
Short week, host the LA Rams. Had them splitting with the Rams. Don't see them losing too many games in a row, so I'll take them to beat the Rams.
All right. And then they face the Dolphins the following week in Miami. at this point, they do have a winning record.
So, yeah, I have to pick the San Francisco 49ers at that point. They moved to 11-4.
And then they face the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football.
I have to go with the Lions. Hold on to your kneecaps. Lions are out for blood, looking for revenge. Had the Lions winning that game in our Lions preview, so I will also pick the Lions in this one as well.
All right. And then Arizona, they end the season on a flex game to end the season with the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I'll have them winning that game, and they move to 12-5, which I think is a very good record for the Niners next year. I think
That's very fair.
you're not 13-4, you're not 14-3, nothing crazy, but you're a respectable 12-5. Chiefs were 11-6 last year, so I think that's right where they need to be. It's going to be in that 11 to 13 win range for the Niners.
I think that's totally appropriate.